are listening to the Atheist Antidote Show.
Let's burn the roof,
and then we'll do it again.
Unicorns think he is a myth. And now your host, Brock Lorby.
Thank you very much for joining me. My name is Brock Lawley. I am your host. This is the Atheist Antidote Show. Greatly appreciate your listening. Ladies and gentlemen, I am a Philly boy, kind of a Philly boy. 45 to an hour. That's 45 minutes to an hour. That's where I grew up, outside of Philadelphia. And it takes a lot for the Philadelphia Eagles to make the news, because most of the time they are losing. I'm a glutton for punishment, been a little Eagles fan since I was a little teeter-tot, a little tater-tot. But today they make the news for something else. Also, Sucky, which is some white guy on the Eagles team, goes to a country concert, gets hopped up on cheap Bud Light or Natty Light, starts mouthing off and uses the N-word. Big fail, right? Everybody thinks that. Show of hands for who likes the fact that people use the N-word. Crickets. I don't see any hands. I'm looking across the vast landscape of humanity. No hands are up. But that's irrelevant, right? Because this is all about political correctness. This is all about taking that little political correct sponge and squeezing for every last drop of division and anger and fear. That's all this is about. And I, for one, as an American, am sick and tired of it. You got the little old lady on the Food Network with the gray hair. They go back to the 80s, find her saying the N-word or something like that, and some McCarthy-esque witch hunt, and they strip her of her livelihood. Of late, you'd think that we were Jim Crow again. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, people say racist, horrible things. I don't surround myself with people like that, and I happen to think people like that are morons. But this is for the court of public opinion. This is not for some political body or a breaking news story, only to stir up the flame, kick the flames of racial tensions with a hot poker again and again and again and again. This is one white dude, probably drunk, getting angry at some black cop. That's what this is. And the poverty pimps and the race hustlers just all come out like cockroaches in a New York City apartment. I'm so sick of this. Who isn't sick of this? And for the black Americans, when are you going to stop getting played by this? When? It's all just charade over and over again. To keep you on some sort of plantation of fear where they can mobilize your vote, where they can continue to distract you from actual problems like joblessness, like a lack of education, like a lack of economic opportunity, on and on and on. No, it's just the white man's trying to string you up from cheese. The KKK is alive and well. Oh, yeah, they are. Is that not 24 hours of news coverage on MSNBC? That exact thing, without the hickish accent. And America just keeps on taking the bait. We're like the stupidest trout in the trout lake I've ever seen. Listen, here's what you do when some idiot pops off the N-word. You, with your voice, tell him how ignorant he is. Do you want to know how we've gone in a few generations from hearing politicians, like Democrat politicians, by the way, like Lyndon Johnson in the White House as a Democrat, a very liberal Democrat, popping off the N-word in public, sometimes on television, to a generation where that's probably the most toxic, taboo word you've ever heard. You want to know how we've done that? The court of public opinion. Everything else, all these news stories, that's all just trying to cheapen the public discourse and distract from political failures. And I'm so tired of a knuckle-dragging populace continuously allowing ourselves to be distracted by this political correctness. Here's how it works. You get to say anything you want to say. I want to repeat that. Anything you want to say in this country. That's the way it should work. But you don't get to not face the consequences from your fellow Americans in the court of public opinion. And that's how we keep things in check. We don't politicize it. We don't steal people's jobs unless that's the employer's idea. You understand? For the love of all that is good, stop allowing yourselves to continuously be divided by this nonsense. There are real problems in this country, and they don't care what color skin you have. The fact that your children are not going to have a bright future. That's across the gender lines. That's even across the socioeconomic lines now. We got a country that's willing to kill and let ambassadors just get slaughtered without any recourse. That could be your child. That could be my child. And it doesn't care about the melanin in the skin. We got a country that has now politicized the IRS as a political weapon. The consequences of which could carry on for generations. Has nothing to do with the pigment of people's skin. Has to do with powerful people taking a urination fest all over our commonly shared rights and freedoms. And meanwhile, all we're talking about is some toothless white trash kid mouthing off at some country concert. Who cares? Who cares? You want to know why the word cracker doesn't keep me up at night? Because I say this all the time. Who cares? Who cares? That's the response. That's the response of a people who are engaged in actual problems and are not roped and doped by political correctness around every corner. Thank you for listening to the Atheist Antidote Show.
Visit the Atheist Antidote YouTube channel for intellectual artillery in the form of dozens of videos pushing back on the poisonous lies of secular extremism, and share this podcast on Facebook.